Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I am live once again. Mama Lou in the building. Counterpunch to you. That's the first person on the chat. I salute. And I'm going over a few things to definitely do this week. We've been talking about the heavyweight division. Of course, that's the priority in boxing, I feel, and everything else is second, unless it's something that we have to have in the sport. It's the sport that I love, that I hate so much, definitely. And I think, and I do appreciate Manny Pacquiao, Floyd, Money Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and countless other fighters that made boxing what it was until boxing needed a savior. Boxing needed the excitement it needed to bring people back to where it needed to be. Okay. Bill Keaveney in the building. Counterpunch to you, brother. What's up, Bill? In the I just got your Muhammad Ali message, so I'll check it out here in a bit. So I'm just cracking open the Kachava. Definitely let's hit that like button as we come in. And we got to talk about the future of the heavyweight division. Okay. So, of course, as of right now, Moses Atoma is leading the pack. He's leading the pack on the new blood. Okay. And we got a lot of people that's not in here. So if we see the picture, you see Moses Atoma in the dead center. Then you have Fabio Wardley to the right, Daniel Dubois to the left. We got Richard Torres to the right. We have Zoloff, right? Also to the right. We have Jared Anderson to the left, and I don't know who this other guy is back here. I want to say that's Madrimov, I want to say. So it is what it is. Francis Manshowo, big man watching from Eldaldo City, Zambia, Africa. Zambia in the building, baby. Anisa Mata, good day to you. Counterpunch to you. Bill Keaveney, this is so true. Counterpunch to you. I like that. I like that Breaking Bad. What do you call that? Thumbnail pick. Skrilla 50 in the building. Counterpunch. That's what I'm talking about. We got some heavy hitters up in here today. Heavy hitters. And Jesus, it's burning up in here. Okay. First off, we got to have these guys fighting, and I think these guys need some promotion. They need promotion, man. Big Up TV, Counterpunch to you. Rico Baba watching from Nigeria. Niger in the building. Box Up TV, Counterpunch to you, brother. Big up. And let's see. The Glamour Division's top talent age 30 and under. Well, who the hell is 30 years old? Is Fabio Wardley 30? And if so, he needs to. All right. Yeah, he actually is 30. He'll be 31 on December the 18th. I'm good working while being here. Counterpunch to you. Multitasking, nothing wrong with it at all. Kurt, Moses Atoma versus Andy Ruiz Jr. in talks. Yeah, I just saw that, Jax, man. You just sent it to me. I'm going to do a video on it. I have yet to scratch it off the list. The truth is, I've got so many videos that I got to do. You got to write this shit down. Putting, I used to have timestamps on my phone. That's not good enough. It's just not good enough. Anis Amara, new blood, yes, sir. Don't forget the WBC Grand Prix heavyweights. Some names are on fire One is literally a Poland Mike Tyson named Lax. Okay, Lax. All right. Okay. KMD123, Martin McCauley is underrated. He was drugged in his last fight, knocked out Usyk in sparring with a jab. He's underrated and he was drugged. That's something to look forward to. Let's see. Look, what is all right. Okay, KMD123. Martin McCauley is underrated. Okay, he's underrated. So, and he was drugged in his last fight, knocked out Usyk in sparring with a jab. Okay, KMD123, where do you get your info from? Jay Roos in the building. It's the Jay Roos theory. No, Jay Roos. No, it's the Jay Roos theory. Jonathan, no, it's the Jay Roos theory in the building. Counterpunch to you. Let's see, Kurt. Marko Milan is a very good heavyweight prospect from Croatia. Marko Milan. Milun, okay. In Croatia. Bryce Productions, hi. Whitey McCrackerson, what an idiot. Yeah, I mean, this is crazy. Arizism in the building. Alex, hello. He's you should talk to Bryce. Bryce said hello, and then or hi, and then Alex said hello. Great. No, I never heard that. Martin, wait. Okay, wait. He knocked out Martin Bioclo. Okay, is that somebody new? Or are you trying to say McCauley? Because that's what I thought you said. I hope it's somebody new. I never heard of Martin Bioclo. McCauley only wins in sparring. Do you think the heavyweight division is going to have a big decline with the big starts? AJ, Fury, Usyk, Wilder, Parker retiring soon. It could, and this is what I want people to understand. Though you didn't answer my question about this Martin Bioclo guy, but you know. I mean, unless he's just somebody that I don't know, that is upcoming or whatever. And if he is an up and coming, he's drugged in his last fight. Did he pop dirty? Because that's the question you got to ask yourself when anybody says they were drugged. See, being drugged in boxing is a very touchy subject because it implies that you had to test positive to even be credible. But if you did test positive, people really won't give you credibility, especially if you tested positive for something illegal. It depends on what it does. See, if it was a banned substance, that means you shouldn't be taking it because it's bad for you, and therefore it's on the banned substance list. If it's on the PED list, that means you're trying to take it for an edge. Yeah, it's a typo. I hope it's a typo. Well, I don't know. Because, see, if it's a typo, we already know that's shit because there's no evidence supporting unless we found out. Hell, I hope so. Hell, I need the views. Because the only thing that we're doing is the only thing that people are watching is shorts. I would love to do a video on it, but not based on this. Joshua drugged him with punches. Counterpunch to you, Bill. That's pretty much, these are all tranquilizers at some point. They give you that buzzing. You know what I mean? You want to feel something? Hey, bow! Take that to the face. Hit that like button, guys. Alex, Martin undisputed of the sparring. Yeah. Mark McCauley's undisputed in sparring. But TCTV, what's up? Counterpunch to you, bro. Counterpunch. Okay, here we go. Here we go. I think Ruiz versus Moses is so risky. Hey, man, like one of my favorite Mexican movies, you know, like Miklo Velka said, hey, no. What's Benjamin Bratt's character on that? The boxer. El Gallo Negro. Like he said, you know, hey, life's a risk, canal, right? It's true. It's risky, you know what I mean? But like if, you know, I think that's a good fight. We're speaking of the future of the heavyweight division. Fighting Andy Ruiz is a good fight because that's exactly what he wanted. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Speak it, believe it, receive it. Moses Atoma wanted a fight that lasted 8 to 10 rounds, right? He wanted to get those rounds in, and it makes sense. And I'm glad that he has that mindset, you know, because if you got a guy like Moses Atoma and he's knocking people out first round, second round, third round, even, and he's putting these guys to sleep. He's dropping them. He's stopping them. He's doing all the above. But then if he doesn't have that mindset to ever want to go the distance or to ever want to get some rounds in for the experience, chances are he's not going to last long. You can carry that hype train only so far when those things happen. If that fighter doesn't want to do anything that's going to benefit him, it's going to eventually turn on him. Look at Deontay Wilder. That's what happened to Wilder. Wilder didn't want to be tested. He didn't want to be trained to be ready to be tested. But guess what? As soon as that happened, he folded. He showed heart, but he also showed fatigue because he wasn't ready for the task at hand because the people that were over him allowed him to do whatever he wanted to do. So it is a rare thing to see someone like Moses Atoma wanting to get rounds in. So you have to take that for what it is. You know, Moses versus Juggernaut. Nah, I don't want to see. I don't want to see Joe in fights like that, to be honest with you. What do you think's going to happen with Moses Atoma and Joe Joyce? A damaged Joe Joyce, a Joe Joyce without the Juggernaut. It's almost like that helmet from the Juggernaut was ripped off of him when Zhang hit him. Okay? That's what it's like. You know what I mean? And Joe Joyce is a guy, he likes what he does, and I want him to keep doing it as long as he wants to, but at a certain opposition, there's nothing wrong with that. And who wouldn't want to see a nice little scrap? It ain't always got to be about the creme de la creme, the top of the mountain, the man on the hill. Don't always got to be about that with boxing. It could be about some fair, medium-ranked fighters. What's wrong with that? I don't give a shit what weight class. I don't care as long as it's a good scrap, as long as they're not running too much, moving too much, really. That's what it's called. Holding too much, filing too much, and then the ref is letting them do it. Lawrence Cole, those type of things. As long as they're not doing those series of things, I'm fine. And you know, and when it comes to the filing, honestly, I don't really mind the files. You know, if the referee sees them, if the referee's like, I don't see nothing, if they don't see those things, we got a problem because that means you're on the take or something's happening in this fight where it's rigged, where one person is allowed to do one thing to one fighter and the fighter is not allowed to do that back. Don't retaliate, right? You know, they tell you that when someone gets hit in the balls, you know, they tell them, do not retaliate, right? You know, so that's what it is. Kurt, what about Moses Atoma versus Derek Chisora next? No, same thing for Derek Chisora. I put him in there with Joe Joyce. Those guys fought each other recently, but I don't want to see someone that fresh, that young fight someone that old and that bold. I'm sorry. I don't want to see that. See, I actually care for the fighters. See, when you actually care for the people, you care for the fighters. You care for the fighters' welfare. They're not just gladiators there to entertain you, to amuse you like some fucking clowns with muscles or a mentality to punch each other. No, I actually care for the fighters because those fighters got lives, man. Those fighters have families to go to. Hold on just a second. Damn it. Okay, like I was saying, I had to blow my nose because, dude, I guess it's the ceiling fan. When it came on, it was hot in here, so I needed some air. And then I hate ceiling fans. I hate all fans. Amanico de odio. I hate them because they're not. I don't like them directly on me. I never have as a kid. You know, like when I was a kid, people have a ceiling fan. You go stay at someone's house, and they got a ceiling fan on. It's in the 80s or something like that, and they put the ceiling fan on you, and you wake up, and all my nose is stopped up, or it's running. One of the two. Moses needs boxers. Rang C. Who is ranks? Oh, ranked C. I got you. I got you. Natural air is better. Absolutely. Hergovic dangerous for Moses now. Well, Hergovic and Zhang, we've heard him say that he wants a 7 or 8 rounder. I think the Andy Ruiz fight would work for him. I think it would work for him. Why? Because Andy is not active enough to really be a threat to anybody. And plus, he's just coming off a injury. So he's just repairing from an injury. I think if anybody's dangerous, it's Andy, though, to be fair with you. But if that's what Moses wants, I think he should get. That's what I think. I think if he wants that fight, if he wants the opportunity to fight Andy, let that happen. And if it's a banana peel, so be it. It'll be a lesson learned. Hell, Jared Anderson learned. You know what I mean? It's just, this is the thing, people. This is what we need to remember. If that happens, if he gets the fight with Andy, and then Andy upsets Moses Atoma, okay? It could happen. Understand that, because you got a guy with a durable chin that can take shots, that knows how to counter, that's shorter than Moses. You know what I mean? And I think the problem with Mike Bulligan, he was too equally heighted with him. So the punches, like you guys just saw my video I dropped today about the possibilities of him getting countered. That could have happened to Moses Atoma. And we're going to talk about that too. But talking about it briefly to make my point, if Andy caught Moses with that shot, because Andy knows how to dip and slip and roll. You know what I mean? He knows how to do these things. You know what I mean? That's what he does. And he had to be good at doing them because his footwork sucked. If you look at any fighter that's good on their upper body from their waist up, and they're good at moving and bobbing and weaving, more than likely their footwork sucks, because you're only going to you're going to defend yourself either 2 or 3 ways, and you do it well. Like Cuban fighters, they use distance. That means they use their feet. You know what I mean? Some people can do both. I.e. Floyd, i.e. Crawford, they can do both. They're good at moving and they're good at slipping and dipping and rubbernecking. They're good at doing these things, right? They're good at maneuvering and avoiding shots. That's defense. Hit without being hit. Slip the jab, slip the jab, slip the jab, right? So it is what it is. But not to get off, if Andy Ruiz, okay, if he goes and hit the wrong button. Jesus, everybody wants to call me now. If he hits the button to that chin of Moses Atoma and beats Moses Atoma, please, people, do not call him trash. Please, people, do not call him a hype job. Please, people, don't do that. And all I want to do is tell you the same shit I'm going to tell you like a Jared Anderson. It's not that he's a hype job. It doesn't have anything to do with it. The same talent you saw before he lost was the same talent he has after. Okay? Let's stop that shit. We are so hard on these fighters, these young fighters. We think, how good are they really? See, everybody shit and took a nice, hot, steamy shit on Jared Anderson once he got beat by McCauley, right? Called him a hype job, or he ain't what we thought he was. Yes, he is. He just got in there with the wrong fighter that was better than him on the night, that was more experienced than him, that had his number. That could be Andy Ruiz. So if Andy Ruiz beats Moses Atoma, okay, please don't give him the same time or the same scrutiny if you gave Jared. But then again, now you got to. But just don't turn your back on him to think that he is no longer credible, no longer marketable, no longer prime promotable. Okay. I think we need to understand that about these fighters. Let's give them a break. You know what I'm saying? Let's give these fighters a break. If they go in there and they get hit and they're trying to challenge themselves, like a lot of these fighters we haven't seen do in a long time. Okay. And then that's what really brought me out of the love of other weight classes that are not promoted or managed right. They're not challenging themselves. Don't you see how much you guys think I don't see the potential? You think I don't see Tank's power and speed and all this? Yeah, I like Tank Davis, but I hate Tank Davis's mindset. He ain't doing nothing. He can't be a star because there's no fighters around him to make him be a star. So it is what it is. But when they challenge themselves and they lose, we have to remember, like, yo, at least he tried. Shit. At least he tried. Damn, give him a break. Ben needs to bring in a coach who can give him guidance. Well, Ben's not going to do that. Ben just needs to let him, he needs you to just let him find his own way if he feels that he can't do it. Andy is the biggest wasted talent in boxing. Those fast hands are dangerous for anyone. Yeah. People forget Aguette and Parker are pretty much the same age at 32, 33. They're still going to be around. They're going to be around for the next 3 years, guaranteed. You know what I mean? I think, I know Aguette Caballo will. I'm not necessarily sure about Joseph, and I'm going to tell you why. Joseph Parker has been around longer than a lot of these guys. He's been around longer. See, he fought Andy for the WBO once upon a time and became the WBO champion in his backyard, mind you. Split decision win. Okay, he didn't win unanimous. He beat Andy Ruiz on points. Okay, he didn't knock him out. He didn't do what he did then. He was just known as a fast, younger, fresher fighter that knew how to box on his back foot and move. You know what I mean? He had good ring IQ at the time. He wasn't known for power. He was known for speed. He was also young as hell at that time. But remember, when was that? It was like 2018. You guys know how long that is now? That's damn near 8 years ago. So Parker has become a WBO champion. Now he's a WBO interim champion. He wanted that IBF opportunity. And I think what it is with him, he wants to fight the best. And he wants to do it because I think once he does it, he's not going to want to do anything else longer because he's made his money. We ain't heard of Joseph Parker to being a drinking druggie, you know what I mean, with a gambling problem. We haven't learned that about him. So it is what it is. I think Ruiz is not an option for Frank. Andy blew it by eating his way to the rematch with AJ. Quan Big Guns, what's up, brother? Counterpunch to you. Andy ate Snickers all the way to, okay, he says he's the same age as Caballo. But see, Caballo hasn't been around a long time. I think once these fighters become champs, and I think being a champion does something to you. Bro, Parker is fighting around almost 270. He's way too bigger, and he still has speed. Also, he has a lot better footwork compared to when he faced Joshua back in those days. I don't believe that either. I just believe that was the ref's call. That was the ref's call. Lou Brown, I think Joseph Parker had just as good as footwork then than you have now. I think the problem was at that time, it was all about AJ. Understand this. Do you guys know why Joshua Ruiz won was such a frightening thing to see and to experience? You guys understand why that's the case? Because AJ and Wilder, they were on a collision course. That's what people wanted to see. Because of that, fights were chosen. You know what I mean? Fights were chosen. AJ could have fought Luis Ortiz. He could have fought Luis Ortiz years before that. That didn't happen. You know why it didn't happen? Because Eddie didn't want it to happen. He didn't want Luis Ortiz, a Cuban, undefeated Cuban guy that was a little older, but was knocking people out. Malik Scott, Dave Allen. Yeah. And Dave was young as hell back then. See, Allen was one of those loved guys back in the day. You remember how you have to keep in mind, Dave Allen was a likable British heavyweight fighter. Okay. And Luis Ortiz knocked him out. Yeah, a little older. Yeah. He was just a bit older. And then when Luis Ortiz did that, Eddie Hearn, he wisened up. He was like, wait a minute. This Cuban is coming over here. This big black ass Cuban is coming over here and knocking people out I just signed. Where the reviews are not as good, but he's still just as good. Matter of fact, he's too good for his own damn old ass good. So this is what I'm going to do. Let's drop him from Matchroom. And that's exactly what happened. Because those fights from Eddie to Luis Ortiz, because he was signed, he had AJ, he had Dillian White, he worked from him, in a kind of a case-by-case basis. So basically, they had a good working relationship. Those fights could have been made. See, Dillian White at the time, Dillian White was high up there, if not the number one then, because he was there for 3 years. I don't know when he became the number one. I forget who he fought. That's how long ago that was. That was a long time ago. That was like 16, 17. That's a long time ago. But Luis Ortiz was signed with Matchroom. He wasn't an Al Heyman guy or a Oscar Golden Boy guy. He was none of those. He was Matchroom. He signed with Matchroom. And you have to take into consideration when AJ called out Luis Ortiz. When he called AJ called out Luis Ortiz. And then an offer was made. And then Jim Jimenez, did some foul stuff. Understand, those things all really relied on the fact that that management of Luis Ortiz has already worked with Eddie Hearn before. Am I saying Eddie Hearn didn't want to see those fights happen? That's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what it was. You think Eddie's stupid? You know. But that's why when Andy beat him, nobody anticipated that. Nobody thought that was going to happen. The problem with non-fights is we spend a lot of time talking about who missed who. Well, yeah, but here's the thing about boxing, though. We have time between fights to recognize the real from the unreal, the truth from the fake or the false. So it's not necessarily a problem. I think it just gives us something to do. It gives us to go to these sermons, right? And talk about and discuss what happened between these fighters. Luis Ortiz versus Oscar Rivas would have been interesting. Yeah, years ago. Joe's footwork is way better. He never changed levels when fighting 3 years ago. His footwork is nice since he's actually using tools he's never used. Okay. King Kong was a sparring partner for Claudius. Well, that's what that's what my man and you guys didn't even supposed to hear that. Spencer Farron said that. Bill Keevan, he says, yeah, and Godzilla. Yeah, King Kong and Godzilla. Yeah, that was a thing. Kurt, do a Geno Jennings impression. Oh God. Oh Lord Jesus. Don't have me talking about that man. He gonna find me and gonna rebuke me. Geno, yeah, I listen to Geno. Geno hard on people, man. Geno, am I right? I say. Let me tell you something. Anytime you out drinking and drugging, you're a liar. Am I right? I say. You're going to hell. Yeah. Oh, me talk about Geno, but I like Geno. Shout out to Geno Jennings. Yeah. I had a pastor like that I went to 20 years ago. I still talk to him. Now, the last time I talked to him, bro, I got counterpunched so bad. I'm talking about bad. It's almost like I ain't talked to him. Like, man, you don't even know what I'm doing. I know what you're doing. I know what you're doing, brother. I was like, oh. Yeah, man. It says, Mama Lou, salute you, but I am the law. The final boss, Luca. The final boss, the final gladiator, Luca Mora. Okay, he's circumvented. Fury not coming back. Well, Fury is not even in the picture. My thing is, Moses Atoma's leading the pack, and I think these fighters under 30, because this is what this is about, right? These boxers under 30, the new blood. I don't think the age is the thing. I think what they are going to do, the pinnacle, where the overall, there we go. Pivotal moment in their career is like Andy was AJ. Ruiz was AJ. That is the same person, ain't it? Andy. Who else? Danny Dubois was Anthony Joshua. Same thing, right? Like these guys have these pinnacle moments. They have these pinnacle moments in boxing where they are pretty much that's the most important part of their career. You know what I mean? That breakout moment. You know what I mean? Like if you look at my career as a stuntman, the breakout moments would be Black Panther, Green Lantern, and definitely Color Purple, which Color Purple was such a letdown because Color Purple was so big and it was so much money spent on it. But I'm comparing that and using that as an example, people, is that it's what you've done and the biggest thing you've done, like Leonardo DiCaprio in Titanic. He's not going to make a movie that much bigger than that ever. He's going to make big movies, but it's never going to be like that. So like those big grossing movies or the big fight purses are these huge fights that mean so much. Like even like now, Danny Dubois fighting Alexander Usyk, that's the biggest fight that he can make. So if he beats Usyk, here's the thing about Danny Dubois. Let's talk about Daniel for a minute. Danny boy, Triple D, used to be Triple Knee. Dubois. If Daniel Dubois beats Alexander Usyk, and he's able to fix that problem for Great Britain by beating Usyk, he will be praised, he will be loved, he will get attention that he's never received. And I follow Daniel Dubois. I follow him and I see certain things that he's doing for the community and things like that. It's exactly what he should be doing. But when he becomes an undisputed champion and then see if he beats Usyk, he will actually really become a champion. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of people look at Usyk as the undisputed champion anyway, because he gave that belt up. He really didn't put too much of a fuss with it. He just said, you know what? I'm going to let you guys fight for it. And what he did was he was like, look, I'll let you and Anthony fight for it since he already beat Hrgovic. So there, you know what I mean? So IBF, you can get off my back. You know what I mean? Get off my case. You know what I mean? Stop breaking my balls. And I'm going to let these two guys, I'm going to let Daniel hold the belt, and then let Daniel lose to AJ, and then let AJ have the belt, and then let AJ fight Tyson Fury, and then I'll fight the winner out of those people. That's what I'll do. And that's what he did. And that's where we're at. This just didn't go the way we thought it was going to go. We thought AJ was going to beat Dubois. Dubois smashed AJ, okay? So now it's Dubois. Dubois missed his opportunity, pissed everybody off. He did lose some notoriety, by the way. But if he does beat Alexander Usyk, you're still going to have people mad at him, but they're still going to want him to fight Joseph Parker. That's still got to happen. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I think Daniel will eventually become a guy that is likable, because then if he smashes Usyk, he has to kick a lot of ass, because if he beats Usyk, then he has to fight, he maybe have to fight Usyk again, and then Joseph Parker has to fight Moses if he gets past Moses, because that fight still might not happen because Moses might beat Joseph Parker. So it's crazy, right? Keep that in mind. So since that fight didn't happen, there's a lot of other fights that have to take place because that fight didn't happen to get back to that fight happening. What is the holdup with Jololoff? He is nearly 30 years old. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, my brother. I will get to that in a second. But if Joseph Parker still looks good, look fresh, you know what I mean? I think the size might help him maybe, because, you know, look what he did to Bakali. He grazed that boy upside his temple. Bow! He came in and leaned in with that shot. And Bakali didn't even see it. So, oh, you know, he was talking about how tough he was with the punch that he was able to take right before that punch landed. But guess what happened? When that shot landed, he was like, timber! Boom! He was out, right? So I don't see AJ beating all these guys. Even if Usyk retires, he should just fight Fury for money. A lot of young guys will destroy AJ and Fury. Well, Mr. Faye, he do? Well, I don't think this is about AJ. I think this is about the young blood. And one of these young fighters, which we're talking about right now, sir, beat the shit out of AJ already. So let's talk about that. Daniel Dubois. Daniel Dubois, you know, when he does that, okay, back to what I was saying. If Daniel does that and he fights Joseph Parker, and he beats Joseph Parker, then he's the undisputed heavyweight champion. He beats Parker. You know, people will love him. People will respect him. People will give him that credit at that time when that happens. But I want people to understand this. This is May 28th, 2025, right? Oh, God, son of a 2025. Keep in mind, don't expect Danny Dubois to stay that hungry. Big up to him. Credit to him if he does. But like most fighters, if they've done that and they've came to that top, when they get complacent, you know, that's why you need a young champion. That's why I hope Daniel does all this before he's 30. Before he's 30 years old, I want him to fight Parker. I want him to fight Usyk. Well, he's fighting Usyk. Parker, Caballero, definitely. I want him to do all that before he's 30 years old, if he's able to do it. Because a young champion can still stay hungry, but then how hungry will the fighter get? So all these guys saying, oh, well, he'll be around 5 years. If Danny Dubois loses to Alexander Usyk, how long do you think he'll be in the game after that? That's a very good question. Jaya Pataya, if he can gain weight. Jaya Pataya, you know, let him be him. I like Jaya Pataya. I think let Zerto man up. Let Zerto man up first. Then we'll talk about Jaya Pataya at heavyweight. Macaulay was doing the butterfly. Yeah, dude. Something's disturbing about watching his ass do that. Something. It's almost like watching Wilder twerk. You guys, you know what I'm saying? When I see Macaulay, I see him doing all that shit. I'm like that shit. You know? No. Greetings from South Wales. DJ Anton in the building. Counterpunch to you. Bill Keaveney. Okay, here we go. What does Roy Jones Jr. think about the future champs? Well, I'm gonna tell you, Bill. I'm gonna tell y'all something. The future champs, they look very encouraging. They look very promising. I think that Moses Atoma, he's leading the pack. You know, he's even over Dubois. Dubois is the IBF. So really, he should be in the front of the poster, but he ain't the front of the poster. He to the side. So he the side man of what we really looking at. We really looking at Moses Atoma. He a babyface assassin. He don't really talk much. We like that about fighters. So I think that you know, Moses Atoma, he gonna get the love from the Brits. You know, I think they like him a little bit than Dubois. I think they think Dubois kind of stupid, but you know, that's on his own accord. So you got to speak up for yourself. You know, let your girlfriend speak for you, or something like that. I don't know, but you know, Moses is leading the pack. All these other folks we ain't never really heard of. To be fair, all these dudes they sitting out and Jolalofs and Holalofs and Tulalofs and all these offs, and you know, these guys ain't getting exposure. So Moses Atoma's leading the pack. So, you know, Jared Anderson, I had a good talk with him. I hope it helped him. You know, he got his ass whooped right after we talked. So maybe he need to talk to me again. But if he can talk to me again, I can put him in the right direction so he can fight those guys like Moses Atoma. And maybe he going to have his front face on the poster as a future of the heavyweight division. Those are the words of Roy Jones to the junior. Great. But Kurt Muslim Gavanov, is a very good heavyweight prospect from Russia that is going to be a big problem in the division. Okay. It will be nice if Daniel beats Usyk, but for real, I don't see that happening. It will take miracles. Kurt, you're lucky you're not. In the UK, it's cold. No, I would rather it be cold than the weather now. The weather now is half spring, half summer. So you got some nights that are 60, some nights that are 90. That being said, we got pollen here. We got cedar here. Shit's bad. No, cold, I'd rather be cold with no issues with my nose. I'm hearing John Jones retire, but I doubt it. Okay. You know, we'll see him lining up coke and getting arrested pretty soon. Shooting guns and shit. Andre Newby, over here, it's different, more worse. You know, it's crazy, man. I had a dream that I went to the UK last night, and the shit was stupid. Yeah, I got to tell that to my members only. I got to make a video about that. It's kind of crazy. It's crazy as hell. Anthony Joshua beats Deontay Wilder. Okay. Cool. Only John Jones can beat John Jones. Rewatched the Usyk versus Triple D fight today, and it wasn't good for Triple D. Well, I don't know. I'm wondering what kind of game plan they're going to use. I missed the super chat somewhere, and we got to talk about that. Bang Mateo, counterpunch to you. Put you on the board there. Thank you for the $2, mate. Everything helps. Everybody should be like Bang Mateo, you know, unless you're Bill Keaveney, because those are ace cats, you know, in the counterpunch community. But no, that is appreciated. And it says, what's the holdup with Jolalov? He is 30 years old. In short, Bang, it's promotion. You know, do you think we will get AJ and Fury or Wilder, neither or both? I don't think so. I think as long as they fight, I think the less the fight will be wanted, but I think the more likely it will happen. See, at some point, people will stop caring about whatever the fuck they do. People don't even care if Tyson comes back or not. If you guys notice, and I know YouTube with the algorithms, it's all screwed up and whatever, but you guys tell us what you like by the views. You know, like when I make a Tyson Fury video, used to be anywhere from 50,000 to 10,000 to 5,000 to 50,000. People really cared about Tyson. Tyson got his ass whooped. People stopped caring because it was either they didn't like Tyson and they're glad he got whooped, so on to the next, or They were hurt because he got whooped and they can't believe he got whooped, but he's got whooped, so they don't care no more about him, period. That's what happened to Tyson Fury. You know what I mean? And then based on his own, self-destruction, oh, I was robbed and all this, that, people don't like to hear that shit because nobody liked to hear it when Deontay Wilder was talking that shit about you. So yeah, that's the irony of it all. But the fact is, nobody cares about most of these guys no more. Like Joshua, nobody cares about Joshua as far as that goes. I mean, he's still loved here and there, but he's not anything like he was. And it's based on the views. I don't click on those. So there's your stats. There you go. You don't click on them for Tyson. Exactly. A lot of people don't click on Tyson. But let this be 2 years ago. If it's Tyson, click. Monday is the deadline. G-Unit. Then you would hear the video. Now, no. Very few care about the fighters outside the ring. Wow. Anthony Joshua versus Parker. Okay. Yeah, it was in 2018. It was a chess match and it was boring. And the referee didn't allow Parker to fight on the inside. I remember that fight. I remember that fight very well. Yeah. I was on my way to Galveston. I was leaving Austin going to Galveston. Before I went to Galveston, I went to Twin Peaks, a place where it's like Hooters. You can drink, you can eat, and they got boxing there. So it's like a Buffalo Wild Wings too, it's more like a Hooters because, of the what the girls are wearing, right? But yeah, I sit there and watch that shit, and that shit was like, damn, I mean, Dean White in cinema. I met Dean White in a cinema in December of 24. That's cool. So that meant you saw him 2 days after he got beat by Tyson, is it? Or was that before? Ego leads to too many actions. Hooters, but better. Aaron Edson, counterpunch to you. Daniel Pero is a 25-year-old Cuban heavyweight prospect. Yeah, I know exactly who he is. Him and his brother. Mama Lou, dent in my head. Bill Keaveney, if AJ and Parker run it back with a ref that lets them go, do you see it a better fight? Of course. I mean, you don't have that much interaction or distraction. You like, if you got a referee that does more like that affects the fight. Referees can affect fights. They can affect the momentum of fights. They can affect what happens in a fight. You know what I mean? They can affect the way you look at a fight based on how they rule it. Let me give you a prime example. Look at Dubois or Usyk Dubois 1. I do think, what if that would have been a count? You know what I mean? What if that would have been a count? How would Usyk dealt with that? If it was a what if, Sanchez will beat Hrgovic. Yeah, I think that. I hope that happens. Mr. Reality, I think he's a good fighter. I think he's a really good fighter. I think, we've learned something. Because didn't he just fight that Mexican fighter a couple weekends ago? Where is Frank Sanchez? Frank Sanchez is in negotiations of fighting Hrgovic. Where's Michael Hunter? Michael Hunter is still waiting for Pulev, and hopefully that can be finalized. He's a good fighter. Frank Sanchez lost his leg movement, and he is a statue now. Yeah, it's sad. That means that I don't think if it was either the surgery was the issue or the rehab, because they have to rehab your leg back. You just don't have surgery and not have rehab on it. That's the second process. because they have to make that or get that leg back mobile. And for an athlete, they have to do more as such because, it's an athlete. Hrgovic is an average fighter, funny but average. Yeah, he can sell more than he can fight. I think him and Jarrell Miller are in the same boat. And I think at one point they need to see each other to get in the ring. No way Usyk would be able to get up. Usyk versus Anthony Joshua 3. Usyk versus Tyson Fury 3. I don't want to see any of those fights at all. Usyk Parker, Usyk Caballo, Usyk Bakali, Usyk Zhang. Hell, give me somebody besides the same shit we saw. What it is, I think, I don't know, guys. Maybe I've worked too hard over the last 5 years. This is 2025. Maybe since COVID, maybe I've just went on a Counterpunch Boxing News overload, because when I'm reading these comments, and I see anything about really AJ versus Fury or Fury versus AJ, or when I see fights that have already happened, my brain just goes, it's like, no, fuck that. No. Like I don't mentally even want to think about the fights, because I've done so many videos on AJ and Tyson and AJ and what AJ said and what Tyson responded and all this shit. Maybe I'm burnt out on all those guys. That's why I'm trying to, Moses and Zhang and Dubois and Parker and Caballo. Even Ruiz, he's coming back. We ain't talked about him for a while. I never liked Hrgovic's body language during fights and its corner. If RJ retires after he beats Ruiz, he'd be a GOAT. Usyk ducked. It's not truth. There's not even tickets out yet. Is the Bud and Canelo fight still happening? Yes, that's a thing. That's a real thing. Karma got Usyk's back in first Fury fight. Bricktop telling Dubois to get in the ring is the only reason we have the rematch. Zhang versus Andy Ruiz. Make it. That would be a good fight. It's like a seal versus a walrus. Atoma, Wardley, and Torres have to fight. Well, it depends on what they do. Because we're not going to say that if they start getting beat. They gotta fight if they keep on winning. I think that's the best way to word that, because you know how we are. Oh man, he got his ass whooped? You remember Adam Kalnaki and AJ was supposed to be a thing once upon a time? Miller versus Zhang, that'd be good. That'd be very good. Miller versus Zhang. I think Zhang would probably destroy Miller. You know what I mean? And what'll happen, it won't be Miller getting stopped, like getting knocked out. It'll be him getting busted up like he did Joe Joyce. It would be like an RTD, Luca Mora and AJ gave you a stand moment and didn't give you an autograph. Huey Fury versus Tyson Fury. Cousin versus cousin. What the hell is this? Huey Fury versus Tyson Fury, cousin versus cousin. Rivers that they have beef in the past. I don't think John Fury and Peter talk. You know what? I think this is what happened. That's a good point. I don't think they talk worth a shit either, because they don't talk like they support each other in terms of respecting boundaries of what they say and what they don't say. However, I think they have general respect for each other because you don't really hear John talk shit about Peter, and you don't really hear Peter talk shit about John. But what you do have is you do have this kind of respected, understood rule. Like, look, I don't fuck with you like that. You don't talk about me, I don't talk about you. You know, you know what I mean? If they are talking about each other, it's in terms of, you know, of certain fights or certain situations that happen. It's not based on their character, you know. Here Fury is hard to market, no intimidation factor whatsoever. He's like a broke down, ugly ass version of Tyson Fury. How he used to be, and that's nothing really to brag about. Because that dude is horrendous. You know what I mean? I'm pretty sure I don't know. He has issues. Maybe Huey Fury's on drugs. There, I said it. Maybe he's a cokehead or something, or a drunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe Huey Fury is that dude. Not saying he is. I'm just saying, based on his history, based on his inability not to fight, and I have issues. Now he just may be sick, and if he's sick with some kind of illness and is not related to alcohol or drugs, God bless him. Because if it is related to those things, that means he needs to stop those things before he gets well. So he needs counseling, rehab, those things. You know. Damn, that just reminded me of the Oscar de la Hoya video. Yeah, I gotta write that down. That was funny. I agree. Huey Fury is a bad fighter. Frazier Clark would KO him. Huey Fury may be a cokehead counterpart. I mean, you know what I mean? Like, you don't hear enough from him. And then he's always getting into some, like, it's always something's wrong with him. What the fuck is wrong with you? You know? You know what I mean? Like, I've seen him fight. I think he got beat up by Povetkin. He had the Povetkin fight and the Michael Hunter fight, and he dicked around with Michael a long time. Maybe that's why I'm mad at him right now, because Huey Fury showed us inconsistency. You know, and he ain't got that big money fight. You know, he's just kind of like, he's the son of Peter, and Peter's kind of cool, you know? So I don't know. No, sir. Huey Fury has a serious skin condition with a bad acne, man. Come on. Okay. Counterpunch to you. Fair play. The final boss, the final gladiator, Luca Mora. How many Furies are there? Shit, a lot. It's a lot of Furies. Huey Fury looks like a coke dealer turned into a boxer. He looks like a coke head that turned into a boxer. But nah. If he has a skin condition, well, you know, like I said, you know, God bless him. You know, I hope he gets that settled. I mean, that's a bad thing to have being a boxer, no? A skin condition when you're a boxer? You know, unless it makes your skin tough or rough, you know, you can take shots, you know. The acne is caused by steroids. Quan Big Guns. Let me ask you something. You really didn't like when Tyson beat the shit out of Wilder, did you? Because I noticed you. You're my man, you know, 50 grand and all that. But I tell you, Big Guns, you talk about the Furies like one of them cheated on you. Like you caught one of them in your bed with your wife or something. Like, I hate them mother. You know what I mean? It's just like, you know, on roids. I'm like, okay, on roids, no. More like, because like you don't hear from him, you know. Tyson Fury or Tommy Fury are half brothers. I don't believe in half brothers. I don't believe in that shit at all. You know, but if you're saying that to make a point, like, yeah, they don't look shit alike. Yeah, go figure. They got different mamas. Tyson Fury looks like his dad too. You could see his dad in him, right? Tommy looks like a stepchild. He looks like a stepchild from Greece. He looks Greek. Tommy Fury looks like fucking John Stamos or some shit. You know what I mean? He don't look like none of those dudes. You know what I mean? Maybe Shane, because Shane is, has darker hair and shit like that. But no. Coke, yes. Roids, no. It's called acne coagulabala. It causes fatigue and affects the immune system. It's rare. Oof. Oh my God. Really? Well, I stand corrected, and hey, my heart and prayers go out to Huey Fury. I had no idea. You know what I mean? I had no idea. I just know like he just does not look well. So that makes sense. Which I'm not glad to hear it, but it's a better thing than just something that he's doing on his own. That's, you know what I mean? That can be corrected, with a little rehab and, some strong prayer. But a lot of today's heavyweights seem mentally unstable. Huey Fury and Shane Fury have the same color hair. Okay. Luca Mora, come on, Kurt. It's on huge record. Fury failed PED test for nandrolone. You know what he did? That is true. Nandrolone was the wild boar ball meat and shit like that we heard so many times. Let me share something with you guys. I remember COVID. I remember everything that happened in COVID. And you know what? This is what I remember in COVID. I remember Wilder. I remember the costume. I remember that. I remember all that. I remember the absence of Wilder. I remember Tyson. I remember the Tyson Fury smear campaign. I remember certain channels came up because of that. I saw channels go from 5,000 subscribers to 150,000 subscribers. I saw that shit. I witnessed it. And I saw the same stuff they were peddling. The LDBC was preaching and lying. You had those other channels, the LDBC affiliates. We had I remember what was that beer? I remember Guinness. I remember Proper 12. I remember Ozark, because I saw Ozark. I will start watching The Boys at that time, but that wasn't until later on, to be fair. But I remember Ozark. Ozark was that thing. 150 from what number? 5,000, bro. I've seen that. There was a channel. Dante's Boxing Nation's nephew or whatever the hell he was. No. Yeah, that dude went shit. He was up there. Yeah, I remember that, and they were talking about the same shit. So, and at the same time, keep in mind that nobody was going anywhere. Everybody was pretty much either scared to go anywhere or couldn't go anywhere because there was nowhere to go. You could drive around and shit. You couldn't even drive across the state line. If you drove past the state line, they were asking you, where the hell were you going? I was stuck in Louisiana in my condo for 6 months. You couldn't really do much. I mean, you could get in your car and drive off. It wasn't like people were stopping you, but it was like if nothing was open, you didn't really want to go anywhere because it was nothing to do if you did. So we were pretty much stuck at home listening to the same shit over and over and over and over and over and over and over. And it was almost like, damn. I'm glad you didn't climb up Wilder's ass for click. No, I mean, that just didn't make sense. Like Wilder got his ass beat. He got beat. And then honestly, I kind of felt bad because I'm like, damn, there's no AJ fight now. He ain't the champ no more. You know what I mean? But right after that, there was some hope because AJ's supposed to sign the contract with Tyson Fury to fight. And that didn't happen. So we all got screwed. Yeah, state troopers were busy, bro. They were making sure you did not go. And if you did leave, they said, well, where are you going? Because make sure you got a certain amount of time before you get your ass back. You know, Michael Hunter's dangerous to AJ and Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. Absolutely he is. Absolutely he is. Absolutely. But they won't give him an opportunity. I mean, it's just sad. Hunter future undisputed. Wow, that would be big. That would be actually awesome for, for American fighters, because then he could bring everyone over here. It doesn't have to be in the Saudis. No, you could bring them to Vegas. Like we don't even have heavyweight Vegas fights now. Think about it. Wilder's fighting in Wichita, Kansas. What up, Kurt? Man, Dubois gonna try to headbutt Usyk. Yeah. You guys seen that short that I did? Yeah. I put those headbutts in there for a reason. They came down on Chris Colbert for his honest assessment. Yeah, I remember that. I remember when that's when I never had an issue with the Boxing Voice. I just knew the Boxing Voice, Ness, should I say. Ness was that go-to commentator for Wilder at one point. Like the Boxing Voice got his notoriety, a lot of it from Wilder. He used to hang around Wilder. They let him in the overall camp, So that being said, so when he did that interview and then they snatched it down, because, I know why and who did it, because, anybody that calls and says, hey, they call a huge bot. What was it? Oh God, what was it? I forget who because he was on one of those bigger platforms, and he did the interview, and then how that works, he was going to get credit for the interview. I'm happy that they fired T.O. T.O.'s fucking up. I'm going to be real with you. T.O. is fucking up. Like, that's true. He's fucking up, because it's like T.O. finds a way. Think about it. When he was at Bob, he beat Lomachenko. They offered him more money. He turned it down because of his ego. They offered him more money. Again, he turned it down because of his ego. He got his ass whooped by Kambosos. He blamed that on DAZN and Eddie Hearn. Because, they had the purse bid for that fight. That fight's supposed to have been on ESPN, and it's supposed to went on Golden Boy, and it was supposed to went to a different couple places. Then he started complaining about money. I'm like, hey, dickhead, if you would have took the money to fight Lomachenko and sealed the deal, you wouldn't have been worried about your blood-sucking in-laws or money issues or people out to get you or thinking about taking my own life and dealing with that type of pressure and stress. T.O. wouldn't have had to worry about that if T.O. would have made the right fucking decisions. I don't feel sorry for anybody that makes the wrong decisions in their career. And then on top of that, to put the cherry on top, it's like you got to start talking racist shit. So you don't help yourself at all trying to be like, it's almost like someone that's racist that tries to play the victim type shit. I'm sick of that. I'm sick of people like that. You know what I mean? I'm not, they're not, people need to worry about me. Oh, these black fighters, you could see, because he started talking that before. Like, they protect these black fighters. And it's like, wait a minute. Okay, wait, you're mad at a system that treated the people that you claim you don't like like they treat you. You know, no, bro. Tio's a good fighter. I just don't know if Tio is all mentally there. I don't know, but I know he's made some dumbass decisions. So he should really just take into account, like, look, stop pissing people off. He went in Canelo's camp. They no longer, you know what I'm saying? Like, dude, between you and your daddy, I've interviewed his daddy. You know, like, if you get too full of yourself, if everything or nothing is ever your fault, that means you have no room to grow. That means your ego will not allow you to grow. That means whoever you deal with, you're going to have some type of issue based on things, how you feel. You're not compromisable. You know what I'm saying? Like Tio and his daddy, listening to Tio 4 or 5 years ago, I'm thinking, man, this dude, this is the real deal. Teofimo Lopez is the real deal, man. He's, you know, the first time I seen Tio, he did that whole little dugout thing, and he did the backwards flip after he knocked the dude out and stuff like that, and he was hitting people, you know, kind of like a Roy Jones would do, like a Roy Jones Jr.-ish like performance. But it's like he just after the Loma fight, things got weird, and maybe just maybe he couldn't handle the exposure. Maybe he couldn't handle the accomplishment of what he did. Maybe he just couldn't handle the fame. It was too much for him. You know, because right after that, you know what I'm saying? He was, you know what I'm thinking to myself? Tio had, you know, he had a beautiful wife. He just had a baby. You know what I mean? I think he was living in Arkansas and he was moving somewhere else, because I followed Tio. I was like, Tio, that's what's up. You guys know, I got a lot of Teofimo Lopez videos. Got a lot of videos, period. But, you know, I was happy for him. And then, you know, when he beat Lomachenko, I'm like, okay, cool. He beat Loma. He upset Loma. You know, and I'm like Van Damme from Bloodsport. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Right? And then it turned into some other shit. Like, no, I ain't fighting him, yo. I ain't fighting Lomachenko. He should have got a rematch clause. Okay, you don't have to have a rematch clause to have a rematch. If he wants to rematch you, and that was the guy that you knew that was the man, regardless of the shit that you felt that you, because the problem was he felt that Lomachenko and his team disrespected him and his daddy because he said his daddy was drunk. Maybe his damn daddy was cat piss drunk. Maybe he was. You know what I'm saying? It ain't like you talk to him, you see, you view or you witness sobriety. You like listening to Teofimo Lopez Sr., listening to him talk is like listening to somebody at the local corner store talk shit about something that used to be. Yeah, well, same thing to me. I mean, drunk, high, he was under the influence. Hey, bro, let me tell you something, bro. My son is better than any fighter than they've never been beaten in a round of sparring or fighting. I'm thinking to myself, man, you sound like you need to be at fucking. That would be something good to hear if you were at a bar, just listening to somebody shoot the shit. My son, bro, let me tell you something about my son. Son was Golden Gloves at 11 years old, bro. Golden Gloves. He was sparring Tank. Tank was a grown damn man, bro. And he didn't lose a round. We'll never see that tough AJ that fought Klitschko ever again. Hell no. Hell no. I go to sleep, Counterpunch is live. I woke up, Counterpunch is live. Gotta respect the grind, respect. Ash Bar, Counterpunch. That's right. I was live like around 1 a.m. But I went to sleep right after that. Yeah, he should have had a drink with Big John. Man, you imagine that? Guys, he'll imagine this one. I'll give you this one. Big John Fury and Teofimo Lopez Sr. They're just sitting. Let me tell you something. I respect Tyson. Tio respects Tyson. Yeah, I respect you too, Tio. You're a good fighter. You're a good bloke. You're a good man. Let me tell you something, bro. Nobody understands the realism bro. The grind, like you and me, bro. Let's have a shot. Hey, 2 shots of Jameson, bro. Keep them coming. And listen, John, I'll agree on you that you did a good job with them. You kept them away from the pussy and the broads and the drugs. I did, man. I tried, bro, because I took them all, bro. I took it all for my son. And I didn't want him a part of it, so I just did it so he wouldn't do it, bro. I sacrificed myself for my son, bro. That's a good idea. I did 11 years in prison for taking someone's eye out for talking about me, son. What? You did what, bro? I did. I took his eye out. I gouged it. Blood spewed everywhere. Oh, bro, it's crazy. Wait a minute. Yeah, man. AJ not undisputed of the sparring because undisputed Mr. Martin. Anthony Joshua. Then Angel Garcia enters the bar. Hey, yo. Y'all know where a guy named Manny? Manny, y'all see Manny? I'm looking for Manny. I'm gonna see y'all in a little bit. I think I see Manny outside. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. Give me a beer. We'll talk about Danny. Angel Garcia. Yeah, that would be dope, man. That would really be dope. I can see that though. They're shit faced at the bar talking. My sons, our sons, bro. And John Fury John Fury, though, kind of looks like he will sit there and listen to a bunch of bullshit for a while. Yeah, that's right. Did you read the Great Sparring Stories novel by Martin McCauley? I have not. I knocked everybody out, man. I knock out Mr. Knockout, sparring KO champion king, man, from the Congo, man. Last king of Scotland, man. I want Dillian White. He cocksucker, man. I want to knock him out. Hit him with uppercut. Yeah, man. It's crazy stuff. But no, Jololoff. It's all about, to be fair, all about exposure, man. Promotions. He needs to get somewhere that someone sees him. Fury is the bullshit himself. John Fury's favorite son is AJ. I like AJ. He's a good bloke. I wish Tyson was built like AJ, the fucking big, thick, buff bastard. He's a fucking unit, isn't he? Tyson walks around like a big fucking Pillsbury Doughboy. Looks like he just fell off the fucking... God damn, he needs to get in shape. He needs to hang out with AJ. AJ talks shit about me. I knock him out in Africa. I can see him then. I knocked him out, man. I knocked him out in Africa, man. I came there, smiled, and knocked him out, man. Yeah, crazy stuff. CJ Martin got a drop by Anthony Joshua like he was his godfather. 1 page long. I think Jololoff wins 1 belt. I mean, it depends on what belt. There's 1,000 of them out there, so a belt doesn't mean anything to me unless they're the belts of belts. And really not the WBC, because the WBCs, they fuck up. It only matters when you have them all. Right? David Price beat Tyson Fury in the amateurs. Okay. All the belts, it's getting crazy. Yeah, it is. But I apologize about the no. Well, I started at 1:30, so I have to do more content, people. I thank you guys for coming on today. I will be live again tomorrow, 1:30. Going live. I will set it up, and we will talk more as time permits. See you tomorrow live for the Friday bash. Of course, please subscribe, bring that cash, and you guys been counterpunched. Peace.